Women have a unique role in creation. Women are the nurturers, the birth givers, the more spiritual of the genders, and Torah teaches that women have a special status. Join Mashi Lipska for the next hour as she expounds the Torah wisdom specific to women. Only on 101.9 Chai FM.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Mashi Lipsker. This is Chai FM. And we meet on an amazing, amazing day. Here we are just days after Tisha B'Av, the saddest day of the year. And we have a day that the Mishnah calls the best day. We have an incredible day where the Mishnah says there were no better days in Israel than the 15th of Av and Yom HaKippurim and Yom Kippur. Sounds interesting. Yom Kippur is the best day. The 15th of Av is the best day. We need to understand that a lot better. What made it the best day? And what does it mean to us now? We know that this day is very connected to marriages, to matches. It's the day of shidduchim, a shidduch. But how? And in which way? And what makes it the best day for all of the Jewish nation? Well, to begin with, it's exactly the middle of the month. And when you have the middle of the month, there's a very beautiful understanding that the moon is now full. What does it mean? Well, let's look at what or who the moon represents. The moon actually represents humility because the moon receives its light from the sun, a receiver. The moon actually represents the Jewish nation. We count our days according to the moon. We have festivals according to the Jewish calendar. And the festival today is in the middle of the Jewish calendar on the 15th day of the month. Why are the Jewish people compared to the moon? And how does humility fit in there? Well, we've often said that there are three classical inborn traits in a Jewish person. They're Rachmanim, compassionate, Baishonim, humble, aware of God's presence, and Goim Lechasodim, they're benevolent. They don't just feel, but they do something about it. We're humbled by Hashem's endless power, His love, His care, His beauty, His wisdom. And obviously it's beyond anything we can truly grasp. But we can imagine it, because in measured glimmers, in the things He does reveal to us, in the world, to our nation, in our own lives, in our own hearts, there are always things that calm us, that amaze us. If we look for them, if we work for them, things that will move us and inspire us, they whisper to us. But we have to be willing to listen. We have to be willing to see, to hear, to see. And to hear and see, you have to look out for it. You have to listen out for it. And amazingly, when the challenges are great, the opportunities are most prevalent. And these messages whisper to us, but they reach deeply within to uplift, to reassure that we are in the warm arms of the Holy One, blessed be He. The Creator of the world has never left creation. There are two ways in which God could have created the world, but he chose one of them. The one way would have been that he created it with one powerful creation that he set rolling and moving till the end of time, unfolding till the end of time. Or, as it says at the beginning of the Torah, and God said, let there be. God said, let there be light. God created light and darkness with words, with speech. And the Baal Shem Tov explains the words of King David, forever, O Lord, your words stand in the heavens. What does that mean? That means he never stops recreating. The world is flexible. The world is actually created from anew at every moment. Forever, O Lord, your words stand in the heaven, not the power that you put into the world and it keeps rolling, but Hashem is involved in his world, constantly recreating. And to study more about this incredible, uplifting concept, it's all in the second part of the Holy Book of Tanya, the Shar HaYichud v'Ha'emunah. I can't recommend it enough. To feel God's presence, to actually get some sort of idea that at every moment, everything, and we, and the food we eat, and anything we need is not just being brought to us, but constantly recreated by a loving God who looks at each one of us, as the Baal Shem Tov said, as an only child born to parents late in life. How much do those parents love that child? Hashem loves us. And everything in life speaks to us about Av, our Father. Now, we're on the 15th day of the month of Av, the month of our Father. And yet, just a few days ago, how can it be? 6 days ago, it was the saddest day of the year. Hashem is our loving, connected Father. And sometimes we see it in an open and revealed manner. Today is a day of Shidduchim, the day that you realize that this is your partner in life, can be that incredibly wonderful day of gratitude. But unless you're going to work with it, those feelings are not enough. We have to work. We have to sustain the gifts. We have to actually internalize the gifts. And there's an incredible teaching that the best scenario is when we struggle. We're finite. We see this as constricting, painful, challenging. We're finite, we're limited. But when we stretch, incredible things happen. As we've learned previously, the greatest light is concealed in the deepest darkness. And Tisha B'Av is the lowest point. And the 15th of the month is the highest point. The Jewish nation is compared to the moon. Sometimes you can't even see us. Like the last days of the month before the moon is reborn, there's no moon. It's gone. But we live with the promise that it will always come back. There's a cycle. The moon will be reborn. The moon will again appear. And there it is, that glimmer, that crescent. And it's growing, and it's growing, which signifies that yes, I'm growing. We're growing. We're growing in increments, in stages. We're stretching. And we get to the 15th, that's the greatest. It's actually an allusion to the great future, when all around us, the entire world, will be in beautiful balance. There's a very beautiful YOM in that wonderful calendar that the Rebbe made for 1943. And that calendar has a teaching for each day, sometimes several teachings. And the teaching for today is that the fifth Rebbe once wrote about the superiority of the 15th of Av being more superior over other months. Every month, the 15th of the month represents the completeness of the moon. Ki amosi arabash lamusa. And some 15s, we know, the 15th of the month of Tishrei will be Sukkot, a time of joy. The 15th of the month of Shvat will be Tu B'Shvat, Chamisha Asar B'Shvat, a day of growth, a day when after the winter, signs are seen that spring is coming. And the 15th of the month of Nisan, liberation. And all these three times indicate that number 15 is good. The 15th of Tishrei, Zman Simchatenu, the time of our joy. Sukkot, reminding us of the clouds of glory, teaching us all over again that Hashem protects us and leads us. We just have to be willing to follow, not to resist. He leads us to the promised land. The 15th of Shvat, a time that reminds us that although things look quite dead, winter, there will be rebirth, like the moon. Just as the Jews traveled in the desert and it was difficult and there was one test after the other, eventually they came into the promised land. So the 15th is a time of joy and promise. It's a time of rebirth after seeming hopelessness. And the 15th of Nisan is a time of liberation, Pesach. So how is it that the 15th of Av is even greater than all the other 15s, where either the moon is complete or we even have a powerful festival that speaks to us, that we celebrate, that we benefit from? The waxing and waning of the moon. From a mere sliver of light at the beginning of the month to that completeness on the 15th, and then back again. Well, that's the rhythm of my life and yours. We have to go down, but it's in order to go up. The descent in order to ascend even higher. That's what's happened here. In this month, there was a drastic descent of Tisha B'Av. And by contrast, the fullness of the moon, the 15th of Av, is a powerful light, because the lower you go, the higher you can reach. And proportionate to that terrible descent that we went through and the exile that followed that we're still in, we're able to reach even higher. Every time we individually have a challenge, it carries great light. We must look at it as opportunity. Hashem is good. Everything comes from Hashem, so everything's good. But when things hurt, we wake up. You can't sleep when your toe is sore, your finger's sore, your ear is sore, your throat is sore. You don't have a peaceful sleep. But that's by design, that's by intention. When things hurt, when things are uncomfortable, we need to realize, I need to grapple with this. This will stretch me. This will bring me to deeper insight. Otherwise, I'm kind of in a cocoon, But if I follow this, I will uncover deeper levels in my own soul. I will become sensitized. My eyes will be opened to things that I can't read in a book, that I can't study, that I can't pray for. My eyes will be open to something which is buried within me, in my soul, which Hashem has put there and given me the privilege to reveal. The waxing and waning of the moon. It's a story of my life. We have to go down in order to rise higher. And then we need to look at historically that the 3 weeks starting on the 17th of Tammuz and that ended last week on Tisha B'Av, that descent is so much harsher than the descent that occurs in other months. So the ascent has to be far greater. And therefore, the rejoicing on the 15th of Av makes it the most precious of days, to rise higher, to rejoice, in contrast to the sadness. Generally, when the light and power of the Jewish people goes up, Jewish people represented by the moon, amazingly, the negative influences of the nations who are idolatrous, who don't have a clarity as to who really runs the world. They don't have a submission to who really runs the world. Those nations are compared to the sun, and they count their calendar according to the sun. So the moon represents a Jewish nation, the sun represents idolatrous nations. And when our light and power goes up, the negativity weakens. At this time of the year, in the Holy Land, in that side of the world, in a sense, the sun becomes weaker. Summer is losing its grip. In fact, we have 6 seasons in the year, and one of the seasons called Kites or summer, which has started 2 months ago, on the 15th day of the month of Sivan, which is kind of, in that side of the world, the beginning of the hottest time. It ends now, and yet we enter into the time of Chom, of heat. As mentioned, it's not 4 seasons, but 6. 2 per season, 2 months per season. And the Gemara says that from the 15th of Av, the sun's power is weakened. And Kabbalistically, it's an allusion to the level of evil, which is personified by the sun, which was worshipped as an idol. And it's weakened, it starts to be weakened on the 15th of Av. And if this applied in the era of the Holy Temple, which it did, we find that all the nations, the idolatrous nations, became subservient to Shlomo HaMelech, to King Shlomo. And of course, it tells us that will happen in the future generation. This teaching tells us that the light of the sun will never be extinguished. Rather, in the ultimate future, the nations of the world will accept the leadership of Mashiach. And whatever influence the nations of the world have, it will be a positive, peaceful influence. Interestingly, Abraham, was considered the first generation. He was the first Jew. And King Solomon was the 15th generation when the moon was in its fullness. It started with Abraham. We are the children of Abraham. And throughout those generations, gradually, the Jewish nation built. It built itself. It grew until the Holy Temple stood. at the time of King Solomon. But the fact that Solomon and his reign of peace is an allusion to the wholeness of the moon, alludes to the fact that the Jewish nation will have reached its wholeness, the fulfillment of its purpose, to be a light unto the nations. And in the great future, the whole world will be in beautiful balance. And we're told that all the nations of the world will flow to Hashem. The word flow, v'noharu elav, is a peaceful allusion. We're living in amazing times. We see so much of this coming together. King Solomon, the 15th, is an allusion, is a teaching that although the world looks physical, everything physical actually has a spiritual source. You know, the world looks physical. It looks like, well, it runs on its own power and wealth and politics seem to direct the world. But we have a teaching, and the teaching is lift your eyes heavenward and see and realize who created all of this. And it's very important for us to understand that there is a plan and that what exists spiritually comes down and exists physically. So today is a day of shidduchim, of marriages. What's a shidduch in the spiritual sense? What's a match in the spiritual sense? Well, there was a wedding at Sinai, and the Chosim, Hashem, was looking for a bride, and he gave all the nations of the world a chance to marry him. There were conditions. You don't just get married. That's disastrous. You got to talk to each other. You got to see, is this my match? Will you give me what I need, what I want, what I'm thinking? Do I feel comfortable with you? Can I look up to you? Can we respect each other? Can we work in a partnership? And Hashem offered every nation a chance to receive the Torah. And each one said, it's not for me. What you want restricts me too much. But when he came to the Jewish nation, they said, Na'aseh v'nishma. We'll do it. We saw you. We are children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and you took us out of Egypt, and you've given us manna, and you've given us water from a rock, and you've surrounded us with the clouds of glory, and led us by day being led by the cloud, by night being led by a fire, and warmed, and gave us all our needs. Na'aseh, let's do it. V'nishma, and we will grow with you. We'll hear you. We'll work with you. You want us to study your Torah and do your mitzvahs. We're in. That's the Jewish nation. We are the example of a recipient like the moon, a glowing recipient. That's us. We glow. We change. Sometimes we don't glow so much, but we're always connected. We have to be connected. Even in the darkest time, a Jew believes he's connected. The Jew is aware he's connected. Let's remember Daniel Pearl. Daniel Pearl didn't live a religious life. But when it came, either change your religion or die, what did he say? My father was a Jew. My mother was a Jew. I am a Jew. Our physical and our spiritual, in truth, are intertwined. Only together can we be one unified being. We're multi-layered, and every person is different. And when you're looking for a match in life, or you're trying to understand your spouse, it's not about becoming one. There's an area in your life where you work toward a united goal, but each one remains an individual person, a multi-layered person. We have elements that are the same, but we're not the same. One is a man, one is a woman. That's what the Torah tells us. And we have distinct responsibilities. Everything about us is quite unique. As individuals and as male and female, we are not the same. We don't think the same. We may not react in the same manner. We have different missions, different mandates. And then every person has a personal mission. It's complicated. Let's look at what the Mishnah tells us. Something very beautiful. The Mishnah says, "Lo hayu yomim tovim liYisrael." The Jewish nation did not have a Yom Tov as wonderful as Chamisha Asar B'Av Yom Kippurim, like the 15th of Av, that's today, and like the day of Yom Kippur. Why? So one version is Shebahen B'nais Yerushalayim Yotze Ois, because on that day, the daughters of Jerusalem would go out Bichli Lovan She'ulim, in borrowed white garments. Uvnot Yerushalayim, and the daughters of Jerusalem Yotzot would go out, V'cholot Bakramim, and they would dance in a circular dance in the vineyards. What's so special about this day? In truth, this day alludes to the day of the giving of the Torah on Mount Sinai. It's a beautiful, beautiful day of remembering our marriage to Hashem at Sinai, our commitment to Hashem at Sinai, of going out of our selfishness and connecting to Hashem. Well, what happened on this day? The truth is that the Jewish women went ahead of the men. Hashem spoke to the women first and asked them if they will receive and treasure his Torah. And therefore, on the 15th of Av, which is connected to the giving of the Torah, the greatness of Jewish girls, Jewish women, B'not Yisrael, go out, make an overture, do something. But it wasn't just what you think. Why were there never as wonderful Yom Tovim festivals as this day? Is because something very special preceded them going out. Well, first of all, every girl went out wearing white, but she didn't wear her own clothes. What did she do? It says that everyone borrowed clothing from someone above them, that the Kohen Gadol's daughter would borrow the best clothing of the daughter of the king. The Sgan Kohen Gadol, there was an assistant or a vice Kohen Gadol, she would borrow from the Kohen Gadol's daughter, and they would lend each other the most beautiful garments that they had. And after they had done this as a preface to going out, they actually danced in a circle, which indicates unity. Nobody was higher than the other. Why did they lend each other clothing? so that somebody who doesn't have wouldn't be embarrassed. So this day signifies love, unity, and it signifies the willingness to give to others and to give the best to others, and also signifies that I'm not full on my own. I have to receive from the other. Even something so basic like garments. Everybody was borrowing white garments. White. Hopefully, this would become a forerunner to a beautiful white garment to wear under the chuppah. What does it mean to love someone else? Ahavat Israel. Even before you go dancing in the vineyards, even before you're contemplating finding your beshert, you're thinking of getting married, which will be a result, as we're soon going to hear, of going out to dance in the vineyards. Even in the preparation, she's borrowing white garments. They are borrowed. She lends white garments. And it's interesting. Our sages say, well, there are two versions to this teaching in the Mishnah, where they speak about this dance. Yes, the accepted Mishnah is that it was Benois Yerushalayim, Benot Yerushalayim. It was the daughters of Jerusalem who would go out to the vineyards. And the word Yerushalayim signifies a completeness of all of heaven. It would indicate Yirah Shlema, Yirei Shalem, that they had worked on themselves and reached a level. But the other version says Benot Yisrael, daughters of Israel. And what's the difference? If you look at the word Yisrael, those 5 letters represent 5 words. And those 5 words are Yesh Shishim Ribo Otiot La Torah. There are 600,000 letters to the Torah. And just like these 600,000 get together to form a word, Yisrael, by calling us daughters of Israel, it shows an incredible, incredible message. We are different, but we are a unit. We are different, but we are the same. We are unique, but we are part of one another. And what would happen? There were 4 types of women, 4 types of girls. Now, these were the unmarried girls, and they danced. And when they finished dancing, the young men who needed a wife would come. Exactly how it took place, I don't know. They were finished dancing. The boys didn't come and watch them dance. But something happened after the young men came. And what did they do? The different women called out what their special gift was. The Mishnah tells us there were the beautiful ones. There were those who came from wonderful yichus. There were ones who were wealthy. But there were also those who were plain. And yet they all danced together in borrowed garments. Now, we need to mention that a woman and her clothing can be quite connected. Most of us, if we have a lovely garment and we meet someone else wearing the exact same thing, suddenly our garment doesn't feel that special anymore. But let's look at garments generally. Garments actually are a frame for the soul. Garments represent the external. We've got a lot of things in our lives that are external. The food we eat, the money we make, the homes we have. We need to share them. We need to remember we can make someone else so happy, and that will make us happier than having things. Did you know that to give someone something which fills them up, fills us up incredibly and opens doors that cannot be opened in any other way? We can share the external stuff, the food, the clothing, the hospitality, the shelter, but we can share the internal stuff, our listening, our time, our thought, our words, our teachings. Let's add in Ahavat Yisrael at this time to bring peace to the world. Let's look. Let's look at what was going on in Yerushalayim. Something absolutely amazing. When the girls finished dancing, the Mishnah tells us, okay, they went out in borrowed clothing, they danced in a circle, and what would they say? They would say, Bocher, young man, and the word Bocher also means choice one, my choice one. They would say, Sa na einecha ura'ei ma ato boirer lecha. Lift your eyes up and see what you're choosing for yourself. In other words, interesting. Don't look at us. Look above to Hashem and make a choice. Not a choice made on the external and the physical, but a choice made on what will be good for you according to Hashem. Get out of your narrow, limited vision, which has to do with the external. What kind of home, what kind of food, what kind of money, what kind of face, what kind of body. Look above and see what's really good for you. And it was very beautiful because nothing's by accident. And as mentioned, some of the women were beautiful. Some were of illustrious lineage. Some were from wealthy families, and some were plain. What did the Yefefiot say, the beautiful ones, says the Mishnah? They would say, look at beauty, for a woman must be beautiful. And perhaps next week we can speak more about what does this mean. Women are not like men. Women are attracted to make themselves beautiful, and we need to speak about this. And they would say a woman should be beautiful, and this is part of the Gemara in Ksubis. It is there. The Yichastika ones, the ones who had genealogy, the ones who came from greatness, what would they say? They would say, look at family. Because a woman will bring children, and those children will carry those incredible genes. What would the rich ones say? The rich ones would say, look at the rich ones. Look at the people who have money. And all of these three are an incredible, incredible teaching. There's the physical beauty. There's the spiritual beauty. There's the physical, seeming, traceable yichus. There's a spiritual yichus. There are the rich people with money in the bank, in the stocks, in investments, in property. Then there are the spiritually rich persons. We know that. We know that from ethics of our fathers, who is rich and who is wise, etc. But then there was one more category, and they were the plain ones, and they would say, take what you're going to take for the sake of heaven. Amazing, these four. So the first question is, how could the plain ones draw attention to their plainness? In fact, the Mishnah calls them ugly. A girl at that age who wants to convince a young man to take her as a wife is saying that, that's like not understandable. That's the opposite of anything that we naturally tend toward. But shidduchim, marriages come from above. Our sages tell us 40 days before the creation of an embryo, a voice goes forth and says, the daughter of so-and-so will marry so-and-so. And you have to marry who's beshert for you. Nevertheless, yes, we need to do this practically. And a young woman needs to beautify herself and feel beautiful. We find it in the first shidduch where Yitzchak, Isaac, needed a shidduch. And their shidduch, Yitzchak and Rivka, the Torah tells us how Abraham went to natural lengths to find a shidduch. He sent 10 loaded camels with Eliezer, full of the best gifts, to show that this person really has the ability to take care of their daughter, and they'll want to send their daughter. And when Eliezer came there, he gave gifts to Rivka and to her family. So how could it be that Jewish girls were at the time of shidduch and they want someone to be attracted to them? They should say, we're ugly. Take us for the sake of heaven. However, let's look at who this, so to speak, ugly girl is. Number one, she has a great yichus. She is the daughter of Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. And even if on the outside she's missing a bit of beauty, she knows that in the Eshet Chayil we say Sheker HaChem veHevel HaYofi. Chaim, charm, it doesn't last. It's not consistent. Yofi, beauty, external beauty, it can fade. But the main thing is Isha Yirat Hashem. When a woman fears heaven, when she is Yirei Shamayim, when she is a Bat Yerushalayim, that's the main thing. Let's look at this. When the girls are about to address the boys, they don't say, look at me, look at me, look at me. First thing they say is, Bachar, lift your eyes heavenward and see. The first thing they say is, a shidduch comes from Hashem. It's going to be an eternal edifice. The first thing you want to do, if you're looking to build something infinite, eternal, is lift your eyes heavenward. Look above. See who created all of this, who made you, who made your feelings, who made your tendencies, who put you in the family that he put you. Nothing is by accident. Se'u marom einechem. Lift your eyes heavenward. In fact, every day when we say the Shema Yisrael, the first 3 words indicate Shema. The Shin is like a sin, Se'u. The Mem is Marom. The Ayin is Einechem. When we say Shema Yisrael, we're telling ourselves, amongst other things, lift your eyes heavenward and see who created all of this, who made you, who is giving you your challenges, who is giving you your gifts. So first, all the girls say, they are Bnot Yisrael. They are daughters of the Holy Torah. They are daughters of unity. And they say, Bachar, before you do anything, know that everything comes from Hashem. Once she says that, once they say that, then the Bachar won't think about external things. Is this girl somebody with a beautiful face, a beautiful figure? He's not going to think, is this girl coming from great rabbis, doctors, lawyers, wise people? He won't think, is this girl coming from a rich home? He will think that the main thing is that this is a daughter of Bat Israel. This is a daughter of Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. This is Hashem's daughter. A woman who fears God, she shall be praised. And pray to Hashem, young man, that the shidduch that is correct for you, that is suitable for you, not just today, but in 10, 20, 30, 40 years' time, and forever, that shidduch will come to you. And when you look at the world, when we all look at the world in this sort of way, we look at the physicality, we look at the material of the world, got to look at it, that it's all a manifestation of the spiritual being sent into the world at this moment. And when it comes to a shidduch, if we look in a simple way, we'll just see the outer beauty, or the outer riches, or the outer, what this family can provide us with. But we're told no. And the girls say, no, Bachar, lift your eyes up. Don't stare at me. Our marriage is much more than just a face and an age. It is something everlasting, a binyan adeyad. And if he does lift his eyes heavenward, our loving Father is going to find him the right shidduch, according to what was announced 40 days before the creation of an embryo, that so-and-so, the daughter of so-and-so, is for so-and-so. But we just want to add something amazing. The girls who considered themselves mechuarot, which doesn't translate nicely as anything except ugly, why would these girls feel that way? Basically, the Rebbe turns it around to something beautiful. It's like she's saying, I haven't achieved much in my life yet. According to where I am now, I'm kind of ugly or undeveloped. I only have potential, what Hashem has put into me. But since I fear God, please God, we can build a beautiful home together. And it's very praiseworthy. And the fact that she behaves in a refined way, in the way of Torah and mitzvahs, which is what is the right way for a Jewish daughter, like Sarah, like Rivka, like Rachel, like Leah. And Hashem made her face the way it is. And Hashem loves her as much as he loves everyone, each one of us. What she's really saying is, everything I have is from Hashem. Everything I know is from the home that I come from. Bachar, lift up your eyes. I have a very deep inner beauty. It is based in humility. I'm not arrogant. I'm not saying I made all of this. I'm saying I understand, Hashem. You put me into a particular family. I've learned a lot from my mother, a lot from my father, from my grandmother. You've made the shidduch, Hashem. You said the daughter of so-and-so will marry so-and-so. I am your child, Hashem, and I am a God-fearing child. And it says in the Eshet Chayo, that kind of woman shall be praised. So there we are. And in truth, amazingly, the Rebbe teaches that these four groups which the Mishnah speaks about, each one corresponds to another letter of Hashem's name. The Yud, then the Hey, then the Vav, then the Hey. But when they dance together, and the word for together is biyachad, and when they've given to each other, and when they've They're dedicated to Hashem. They are God-fearing women. And they are doing this incredible mitzvah of love love the other as you love yourself, because you're really loving yourself then, because they are part of you. Each one reveals the essence of her soul, where the unity is, the yechida in her nefesh, her desire to unite with another Jew so completely, to nurture them, to give to them, even on a level of her best clothing, as a preface to finding a shidduch. Her entire desire is revealed. What's my inner desire and your inner desire? It's to unite with the unified one of the world, Yechido Shel Olam, who is considered the one in the world, the only one in the world, the unity of the world. And when she says, Bocher, lift up your eyes and see, it's a message to us. We need to lift up our eyes. We need to see that everything comes from Hashem. And the 15th of Av, although Tisha B'Av is not so long ago, and we struggled in the 3 weeks, the time now is to step out of the sadness, and to remember that Ivdu et Hashem b'simcha. We have to serve God with joy. And the word Ivdu means you got to work hard, like an eved, like a servant, like ibud orot, like refining, tanning skins. It's hard work. We got to work at our joy. We have to do something to step out of ourselves, not the way it looks, but the way it really is in essence. And on that note, I want to share an amazing story about stepping out. Who am I? With whom do I share? To whom do I give? Listen to this. In 1950, before the Rebbe became Rebbe, a man came to the shul to pray in the synagogue in 770 Eastern Parkway. And with him was his 6-year-old son. This is many years ago. And Mincha was about to begin. Mincha is the afternoon service. And the little boy was looking for a siddur, a prayer book. The prayers then began, and the little boy still didn't have a siddur. And he was moving his way back toward his father, empty-handed, and another man invited him to come share his siddur. So he did. Who was this man? It was none other than the man who would become Rebbe, and he was called the Ramash. That's how the Rebbe was known, Rabbi Menachem Schneerson, Ramash. He was called before he accepted the mantle of leadership. And those are the initials of his name. So this little 6-year-old sits down next to the Ramash, and together they begin to daven from the same siddur. They begin to pray from the same prayer book. The Hasidim were uncomfortable seeing this. They felt it's degrading for the Ramash to pray together with a little boy. So they were trying to motion to this little kid who was absolutely bewildered, go back to your father. When the Ramash realized what was happening, he looked up at the well-meaning Chassidim and said, what do you want from him? My prayers are proceeding very nicely when he prays with me. And what did the Rebbe see? What was the Rebbe saying? If only I could pray with the innocence of a child, which is a quote from Rabbi Shimshon of Chinon. It's not what meets the eye. Nothing in this world is what meets the eye. We have to dig below the surface. We have to stretch our boundaries and our barriers. We have to look at every challenge as an opportunity, and it's not the external. We have a big neshama, and the neshama does not respond to external things. But when we reach out to others, and this is a time of Ahavat Yisrael, to get out of the Tisha B'Av mode, it's about giving to others, giving generously, giving with a full heart. And what ends up happening is eternal. Ends up happening like with these girls who borrowed and lent their best garments. What ended up happening? Eternal homes in Israel. Connecting to their mission, connecting to their source, connecting to their partner in life, remaining strong and individual, but together building a binyan adayad. And to all of us, it speaks to us about the time of Mashiach, when, similar to what happened then, with unity, with seeing the other, with giving to the other, as it says, Tzion b'mishpat tipadeh v'shaveha b'tzedakah. What will happen? Zion will be redeemed with righteousness, and her returnees with tzedakah. And that's why the Rebbe gave out dollars. He was trying to hasten the time of Mashiach to inspire us all to give to others. May this day be transformed in a revealed way to the happiest day. Good evening.